Shalom to all my brothers and sisters in Yahweh, and welcome to another study in our extra-canonical books of the Bible. Today we are going to be studying Jubilees, the Book of Jubilees, and we'll be continuing our study in chapter 13, 14, and 15. Okay, so if you have one of these books that has the extra-canonicals in it, the Dead Sea Scrolls, go ahead and grab it. Open to Jubilees, and like I said, we'll be starting on chapter 13. Okay? Gang, I got a favor to ask of you, and this is something that I didn't ask before, because I don't really care about YouTube's whatever, with their likes and dislikes and all that stuff. I really don't care. But it's kind of strange. The past 4 videos that I have posted, when I posted them, they had views on them. The Exodus video had 20 views on it when I posted it. And now, all of those views have been stripped off of those videos. So it shows that there's no views on those videos. And I don't know why. The only thing that I can come up with is that YouTube hates the truth. And in trying to put me in a closet so that nobody sees my videos, they are stifling the truth. Because this is what I'm reading to you straight out of the Bible and straight out of the extra-canonicals that came out of the Bible. Okay? So the only conclusion that I can come to is that YouTube hates the truth. They're robots. Their AI hates the truth. It's even gotten to the point where I've noticed that some of the videos that I watch, the wheel of death comes up on them because they don't want you to see them. And it makes it really difficult to watch the videos. So they're stifling the truth. Unbelievable. Unbelievable what the wickedness, the demons will go to, the extents they'll go to stifle the truth. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So if you guys would do me a favor and just hit the like button to show that you're watching the videos, that would be great. I don't care about any of the analytical stuff. It's just the fact that they're stripping the views off of my videos. So if you do me a favor, just hit the like button. Show me that you're watching the videos. That would really help. I don't know if they can get rid of the likes on there or not, but they're definitely stripping the views. Okay? Thanks, guys. I appreciate that a lot. Just for my own sanity, because when I post these videos, I can see there's views on them. And then a day later, there's no views on them. It's weird. Alright, enough. Enough of the hokey-pokey YouTube stuff. Let's get into our study for the day, okay? The Book of Jubilees, Chapter 13. Abraham journeyed from Haran, and he took Sarai his wife, and Lot, his brother Haran's son, and they went into the land of Canaan. And he came into Ashur, and proceeded to Shechem, and dwelt near a tall oak. He saw the land was very pleasant, from the border of Hamath to the tall oak. Yahweh said to him, "To you and to your offspring I will give this land." He built an altar there, and he offered on it burnt sacrifice to Yahweh, who had appeared to him. He left from that place and went to the mountain Bethel on the west, and Ai on the east, and pitched his tent there. He saw the land was very wide and good, and everything grew on it, vines and figs and pomegranates, oaks and ilexes and turpentine and oil trees and cedar and cypress and date trees and all trees of the field, and there was water on the mountains. And he blessed Yahweh, who had led him out of Ur of the Chaldees, and had brought him to this land. In the first year, in the 7th week, on the new moon of the first month, he built an altar on this mountain, and called on the name of Yahweh, and said, You, the eternal Yahweh, are my Yahweh. He offered on the altar a burnt sacrifice to the Elohim, that he should be with him and not forsake him all the days of his life. He left that place and went toward the south, and he came to Hebron, and Hebron was built at that time, and he lived there 2 years, and he went from that place into the land of the south, to Bealoth, and there was a famine in the land. Abram went into Mitzrayim, into Egypt, in the 3rd year of the week, and he dwelt in Mitzrayim 5 years before his wife was torn away from him. Now Taneas in Mitzrayim was built 7 years after Hebron. When Pharaoh seized Sarai, the wife of Abram, the Elohim plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Abram was celebrated and admired because of his great possessions of sheep and cattle and donkeys and horses and camels and men servants and maid servants, and in silver and gold. Lot, his brother's son, was also wealthy. Pharaoh gave back Sarai, the wife of Abram, and he sent him out of the land of Mitzrayim, and he journeyed to the place where he had pitched his tent at the beginning, to the place of the altar, with Ai on the east and Bethel on the west. And he blessed the Elohim, Yahweh, who had brought him back in peace. In the 41st Jubilee, in the 3rd year of the 1st week, that he returned to this place and offered on it a burnt sacrifice, and called on the name of the Elohim, and said, You, the Most High Elohim, are my Elohim forever and ever. In the 4th year of this week, Lot parted from him, and Lot lived in Sodom, and the men of Sodom sinned greatly. It grieved him in his heart that his brother's son had parted from him, because Abram had no children. After Lot had parted from him, in the 4th year of this week, in that year when Lot was taken captive, the Elohim said to Abram, Lift up your eyes from this place where you are dwelling, northward and southward and westward and eastward. All the land that you see I will give to you and to your offspring forever. And I will make your offspring as the sand of the sea. Though a man may number the dust of the earth, yet your offspring shall not be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and the breadth of it, and see it all. To your offspring I will give it. And Abram went to Hebron and lived there. And in this year came Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Salasar, and Tergal, king of nations, and killed the king of Gomorrah. And the king of Sodom fled, and many fell through the wounds in the valley of Siddim by the Salt Sea. They took captive Sodom, and Adam, and Zeboim, and they took Lot captive, the son of Abram's brother, and all his possessions, and they went to Dan. One who had escaped came and told Abram that his brother's son had been taken captive. And Abram equipped his household servants for Abram and for his offspring 1/10 of all the firstfruits to the Elohim. And the Elohim ordained it as a law forever, that they should give it to the priests who serve before him, that they should possess it forever. There is no limit of days to this law, for he has ordained it for the generations forever, that they should give to the Lord 1/10 of everything. excuse me, of the seed, and of the wine, and of the oil, and of the cattle, and of the sheep. Tithing. Okay? So Yahweh has established tithing. Verse 27. He gave it to his priests to eat and to drink with joy before him. The king of Sodom came and bowed down to him and said, O Lord Abram, give to us the souls which you have rescued, but let the booty be yours. And Abram said to him, I lift up my hand to the Most High Yahweh, that from a thread to a shoe latchet I shall not take anything that is yours, so that you could never say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men, Aner, and Eshcol, and Mamre, have eaten, and the portion of men who went with me, these shall take their portion. Chapter 14. After these things, in the 4th year of this week, on the new moon of the 3rd month, the word of Elohim came to Abram in a dream, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your defender, and your reward will be very great. He said, Elohim, Elohim, what will you give me, seeing I go from here childless, and the son of Mask, the son of my handmaid, Eliezer of Damascus, he will be my heir, and to me you have given no offspring. He said to him, This man will not be your heir, but one that will come out of your own bowels, he will be your heir. And he brought him out abroad, and said to him, Look toward heaven, and number the stars, if you are able to number them. I got a tickle. Hang on a second. Verse 5. He looked toward heaven, and beheld the stars. And he said to him, So shall your offspring be. And he believed in the Elohim, and it was counted to him as righteousness. Yahweh said to him, I am the Elohim that brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees, to give you the land of the Canaanites to possess forever. And I will be Elohim to you, and to your offspring after you. He said, Elohim, Elohim, how shall I know that I shall inherit it? And Yahweh said to him, Take me a heifer of 3 years, and a goat of 3 years, and a sheep of 3 years, and a turtle dove, and a pigeon. And he took all these in the middle of the month, and he dwelt at the oak of Mamre, which is near Hebron. He built an altar there, and sacrificed all these. He poured their blood on the altar, and divided them in half, and laid them over against each other. But the birds he did not divide. Birds came down on the pieces, and Abram drove them away, and did not permit the birds to touch them. It happened, when the sun had set, that an ecstasy fell on Abram, and such a horror of great darkness fell on him. And it was said to Abram, Know of a surety that your offspring shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and they shall be brought into bondage and afflicted for 400 years. Okay, there's a prophecy right there, because Yahweh's telling Abram that the children are going to be taken into captivity for 400 years, i.e. the captivity in Mitzrayim, in Egypt. Okay, so here's a little prophecy there. Verse 14, The nation also to whom they will be in bondage will I judge, and after that they shall come out from that place with many possessions. You will go to your father in peace, and be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall return here, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And he awoke from his sleep, and he arose, and the sun had set, and there was a flame and a furnace was smoking, and a flame of fire passed between the pieces. On that day, the Elohim made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your offspring will I give this land, from the river of Mizraim to the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, the Perizzites, and the Rephaim, the Karites, and the Hivites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. The day passed, and Abram offered the pieces, and the birds, and their fruit offerings, and their drink offerings, and the fire devoured them. On that day we made a covenant with Abram, in the same way we had covenanted with Noah in this month. And Abram renewed the festival and the laws for himself forever. So Torah was established with Abram. It had been established with Noah already, but it's being reestablished with Abram, because Yahweh is speaking to Abram. Verse 21, Abram rejoiced and made all these things known to Sarai his wife. He believed that he would have offspring, but she did not bear. Sarai advised her husband Abram, and said, go to him, go in to Hagar, my Mitzrayim maid. It may be that I shall bring up offspring to you by her. Abram listened to the voice of Sarai his wife, and said to her, do so. And Sarai took Hagar, her maid, the Mitzrayite, and gave her to Abram her husband, to be his wife. He went into her, and she conceived, and gave birth to a son, and he called his name Ishmael. In the 5th year of this week, and this was the 86th year in the life of Abram. Okay, chapter 15. In the 5th year of the 4th week of this Jubilee, in the 3rd month, in the middle of the month, Abram celebrated a feast of the firstfruits of the grain harvest. And he made new offerings on the altar, the firstfruits of the produce to the Elohim, a heifer and a goat and a sheep on the altar as a burnt sacrifice to the Elohim. Their firstfruits and their drink offerings he offered on the altar with frankincense. Okay, so he is observing firstfruits. Alright, so he's following Torah. Verse 3, the Elohim appeared to Abraham and said to him, I am Yahweh Almighty. Examine yourself and demonstrate yourself before me and be perfect. I will make a covenant between me and you, and I will multiply you greatly. Abram fell on his face, and Yahweh talked with him and said, my law is with you, and you will be the father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name from now on, even forever, shall be Abraham. For I have made you the father of many nations. I will make you very great. I will make you into nations, and kings shall come forth from you. I will establish my covenant between me and you, and your offspring after you, throughout your generations, for an eternal covenant. Eternal covenant. That means forever. Not until Yehoshua is born, but forever. Eternal covenant. So that I may be your Elohim to you, and to your offspring after you. You may possess the land where you have been a sojourner, the land of Canaan, and you will possess it forever, and I will be their Elohim. The Elohim said to Abram, keep my covenant, you and your offspring after you, and circumcise every male among you, and circumcise your foreskins, and it shall be a token of an eternal covenant between me and you. Okay, the circumcision, as we have gone over before, is a blood sacrifice sealing the covenant between man and Elohim. Okay, there's always a blood covenant. In order to establish a covenant, there has to be blood. Thus, the offerings. Okay? But to establish the covenant between man and Elohim, the circumcision must take place. Okay? Verse 12. And the 8th day you shall circumcise the child, every male throughout your generations, him that is born in the house, or whom you have bought with money from any stranger, whom you have acquired, who is not of your offspring. He that is born in your house shall surely be circumcised, and those whom you have bought with money shall be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an eternal ordinance. Okay? Verse 14, the uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin on the 8th day, that soul shall be cut off from his people, for he has broken my covenant. He never established the covenant through blood, through the foreskin. Okay? See how that all works? Verse 15, Yahweh said to Abraham, As for Sarai your wife, her name shall no more be called Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. I will bless her, and give you a son by her, and I will bless him, and he shall become a nation, and kings of nations shall proceed from him. Abraham fell on his face and rejoiced, and said in his heart, Shall a son be born to him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, who is 90 years old, bring forth? Abraham said to Yahweh, Oh, that Ishmael might live before you. Yahweh said, Yea, and Sarah also shall bear you a son, and you will call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him, an everlasting covenant, and for his offspring after him. And as for Ishmael, also I have heard you, and behold, I will bless him, and make him great, and multiply him greatly, and he shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. Ishmael, Islam. Okay? Put it together. Puzzle pieces all fit together. Ishmael is Islam. Okay? Verse 21. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you this time next year. Yahweh ceased speaking with him, and Yahweh went up from Abraham. Abraham did according as Yahweh had said to him, and he took Ishmael his son, and all that were born in his house, and whom he had bought with his money, every male in his house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin. So every single male that was in his house is now part of Yahweh's covenant. 24. On that same day was Abraham circumcised, and all the men of his house, and all those whom he had bought with money from the children of the stranger, were circumcised with him. Can you imagine being 100 years old and being circumcised? Wow. That would... Okay. Verse 25. This law is for all generations forever, and there is no variance of days, and no omission of one day out of the 8 days. For it is an eternal law, ordained and written on the heavenly tablets. Everyone that is born, the flesh of whose foreskin is not circumcised on the 8th day, does not belong to the children of the covenant which the Elohim made with Abraham, but instead they belong to the children of destruction, nor is there any other sign on him that he is the Elohim's. But he is destined to be destroyed and killed from the earth, and to be rooted out of the earth, for he has broken the covenant of the Elohim, Yahweh. All the angels of the presence of the Elohim, and all the angels of sanctification have been created already circumcised from the day of their creation, and before the angels of the presence of the Elohim and the angels of sanctification, he has sanctified Israel, that they should be with him and with his holy angels. Command the children of Israel, and let them observe the sign of this covenant for their generations as an eternal law, and they will not be rooted out of the land. For the command is ordained for a covenant, that they should observe it forever among all the children of Israel. For Ishmael and his sons and his brothers and Esau, the Elohim did not cause them to come to him, and he did not choose them. Although they are the children of Abraham, he knew them, but he chose Israel to be his people. He sanctified them, and gathered them from among all the children of men. For there are many nations and many peoples, and all are his. And over all nations he has placed spirits in authority to lead them astray from him. But over Israel he did not appoint any angel or spirit, for he alone is their ruler, and he will preserve them and require them at the hand of his angels and his spirits, and at the hand of all his powers, in order that he may preserve them and bless them, that they may be his, and he may be theirs from now on forever. I announce to you that the children of Israel will not keep true to this law, and they will not circumcise their sons according to all this law. For in the flesh of their circumcision they will not omit the circumcision of their sons, and all of the sons of Belial will leave their sons uncircumcised as they were born. There will be great wrath from the Elohim against the children of Israel, because they have forsaken his covenant and turned aside from his word, and provoked Yahweh and blasphemed, because they do not observe the ordinance of this law. For they have treated their genitalia like the Gentiles, so that they may be removed and rooted out of the land, and there will no more be pardon or forgiveness to them for all the sin of this eternal error. Wow, that's some pretty intense stuff there, guys. So we see how the covenant was sealed with Abraham through all generations forever. Forever. Foot stomps it over and over and over and over. Forever. Not for today, not for tomorrow, not until Yeshua comes. Forever. It's pretty interesting how Yahweh foot stomps that over and over and over. He's making a point, okay? Just like he makes a point about the Sabbath and about following Torah. And being the fact that we, the Gentiles, through the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach, through his blood sacrifice, being the perfect, unblemished lamb, the blood sacrifice of Yeshua, we have been grafted into the tree of life. So we're supposed to be following all of these laws, because we are part of the tribes of Israel. Ephraim, from what I've studied. So, something to think about. And now that we have several witnesses to this, including the Bible, which is a witness, and Jubilees is a witness, we know that this is what we're supposed to be doing. Okay? Something to think about. Reread it a few times. Do your own study. Sit down and talk about it with brothers and sisters in the faith, and study with them and see what you all come up with. Okay? This is for all generations. It's for all of us. And now through the blood of Messiah, us Gentiles are part of all this. Forever. For all generations. Forever. Okay? Alright, gang. Well, I think that's about it for today. I hope that y'all have gotten something out of this study, and I hope that we're gaining knowledge and wisdom, because that's what this is all about. We study our Bible, and then we study the extra canonicals to gain as much knowledge and wisdom as we can possibly gain. And then we pray over it. Okay? Got to pray over it. Alright. Well, I think that's it. I appreciate y'all helping me out with the thumbs up thing. That's not my thing. That's a YouTube thing. But I appreciate it. That way I might be able to retain some of the views so that they don't completely put me in a closet. Because if there's no views on these videos, they're not going to get any traction at all. Nobody is going to benefit from them at all. And that's what the demons want. They don't want anybody to benefit from the truth. So we got to get it out there, gang. Please. Please have your families and your friends, your brothers and sisters in Yahweh, watch these videos, because these are the truth. I am not deceiving anyone. I am backing up everything that I am reading here. Okay? I know it's hard to fathom sometimes because the modern churches have preached against this stuff. No. From the beginning, it's been established. Alright, gang. Y'all have a great day. And I will see you on Shabbat. Thanks a lot, everybody. Yah bless. Bye.